Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, we need to have a talk. So I know that it's been a long time since the last video that I made. If I'm not mistaken, it's been about 5 months. Yeah, I'm looking at my videos and the last time I made a video was 5 months ago when I got a new front bumper. That's a long time ago. I'm not including my reels I made about the Supra. If you haven't checked that out, by the way, definitely check it out. I'll link it in the description below. But there's been a lot of stuff going on. So first of all, let's get the elephant out of the room. My car's transmission broke. So I'll get a little bit more into that later in the part of the video, but for now I'm just gonna leave it at my transmission broke and it kept stalling every time I put it into reverse or drive. So I had to get that fixed. But more on that later. So I'm not sure how many people know this, but I'm actually a student right now. I'm in college, and that hasn't really allowed me to be able to go out and film a lot of content because, well, I'm busy studying. I'm trying to lock in and trying to graduate, want to get my degree, want to get a good full-time, high-paying job, and that's kind of been on the top of my list of priorities that I want to do. So that's kind of been taking up a lot of time. 5 months ago right now is November, so October, September, August, July, June. Last time I made a video was June, and that was right before my transmission blew also. But over summer, there hasn't really been too much stuff going on. I got like a couple new parts, nothing really worth mentioning. I'll show you guys later anyways, but it hasn't really been anything crazy going on. And also I got the Ray-Ban Meta glasses and I tried recording using those. However, I didn't know that they only record in portrait vertical mode, and YouTube videos are horizontal landscape mode. And I didn't know that. I didn't know you can change that, and that lost me some footage, but whatever, it is what it is. You live, you learn. So I have, I think, 1 or 2 like new parts, nothing super crazy or anything like that. So I've been really busy with school, nothing's been going on, and a lot of the meets, they're just the same thing, like kind of over and over again. There's not really anything crazy new. I was going to record the Tri-State Motor Club auto show in Clover Stadium, but it got rescheduled from, I think it was like May or something like that, like early in the year to mid of the year. It got rescheduled to end of September, and due to the timing of that, I haven't been able to edit that video, and now it's 2 months have passed and it will be way too late to release a video like that. There's literally other content creators who release reels and like videos and whatever stuff. They released it literally the day after. Must be nice to not have school the next day. So I'm just having my time filled up a lot with school, working my part-time job, actually 2 or 3 jobs. I don't work too many hours each day for each one, but they all add up. And I don't work too much because I'm a student, therefore I haven't been making money to be able to afford new parts per se. I say that as I have another video coming up because I got myself something for the Black Friday sale. More on that in a bit. But now I think it's time to get into the meat and potatoes right after I show you what else I got that's new. So ignore my car being very dirty. I know it needs a wash. Speaking of wash, yeah, I don't know what's going on, why it's this wheel exactly, like only, but I haven't tried like rotating them or anything either. But this wheel, I gave a cleaning and I showed the effects of it on my Instagram. Instagram is at slow_G37X, just like my YouTube, so go follow that if you don't already. I went through cleaning, power washing, using Meguiar's all-wheel cleaner, and I also have new brake pads and rotors. And this wheel is still incredibly dirty from brake dust. Unfortunately, I think when my mechanic forgot to grease the caliper pins, therefore making the pad always stay in contact with the rotor, that's what made a lot of brake dust, and I think it's unfortunately ingrained into the wheel. Because a few months ago, I also did take off this wheel again specifically and clean it again. And it's now back to this condition, and it's even worse than other ones. Like, if we come around to the other back wheel, look how much cleaner this one looks. Obviously, it's not the epitome of cleanliness over here, but it's still a heck of a lot cleaner than the other one. And I don't know why, for the life of me, why that one keeps on getting crazy like that. Because we did like me and my family friend, we did re-grease the caliper pins, and it should be fine now. But I don't know why it's just, I think it's just ingrained in there. Nothing I can really do. So, on the list of new things, obviously I just talked about it right now. New brake rotors, and you can't really see them, but new brake pads as well. I got the, I want to say Z23 package from Power Stop, and I happened to get them off a really good deal. I don't know why there was a deal. I don't know why it went back up to like 500 the next day or something, but I got them for like, I don't know, 380 I think it was. All four corners, all rotors and pads for all corners, so that was really awesome. And they're drilled and slotted as well, so that's even nicer. You guys already know I have the differential brace underneath the car. Yeah, that was installed, but here she is. Once again, I tried cleaning up a little bit for the auto show. Obviously, it's a daily, so it's going to get dirtier. However, one of the most colorful things that you can probably see first is I have a new oil cap. It's a billet aluminum. I think they call it Victory Blue from Z1. And the thing is, if you have like, I don't know, a coin or something, you can like rotate this. I don't have a coin obviously, so it's not really going to work, but you can rotate this part to line up perfectly straight, to have the logo perfectly straight, sorry. Next thing that I got that's new, like you guys already know about the intakes, you know about the plenum, the injectors and all that, if you watch my level 2 upgrade video. If you haven't, then you don't. But you guys already know about this part. However, new over here is this and this. Now, what is this, you may be asking? These are oil catch cans. So, from factory, there are these silicone lines that go from, well, sorry, not silicone, whatever material they're made of. They go straight from, you see how there's a hose clamp right there? From factory, it goes straight out from the valve cover port over here, and it goes directly into the plenum. Now, that is called the PCV system, or the positive crankcase ventilation system. Now, what that does is just like extra air like comes up underneath the valve covers, and this port just recirculates that air back into the plenum to just be used more. However, that is not good. There are oil particulates that form and get mixed in with the air. And your engine is only supposed to burn fuel and air, because that is what makes combustion, that is what makes a spark. Anything other than that is not good for the health and longevity of the engine. So when I did my brake pads and rotors with my family friend, he recommended to me that I should get oil catch can system. And just give me 1 second, I'll get into what that does. But he gave an example. He has a, I want to say, I don't think it's a Nissan Armada. It's like one of the big like Nissan or Infiniti SUVs. I forget which one exactly. I think it could be the Armada. It's like very big. It has like 6 lug nuts on the wheel. It's behemoth. He has a universal catch can, and he only has one because this is a G37 specific kit, so that's why this one comes with 2 to match the intakes, 1 on each side. But he has a single universal one. I think it's like 3.3 ounces can. And he said when he installed it, he immediately had to take a trip up to Buffalo in New York and back down. And when he came back, he looked at the can contents, and it was already pretty much like halfway filled up with oil. That is a lot of oil. So imagine that, like that trip, I don't know, let's say 4 hours, 4 hours up, 4 hours back, and it fills up a little bit over 1.5 ounces just of oil. Imagine what that's doing to your engine when you drive. I'm at 121,000 miles right now, so imagine you driving just for a normal car 100,000 miles. That's a lot of oil going into your engine, and that could lead to not good problems, because no problem is good. So instead, what this system does is there is a silicone hose that comes out from this port over here. It runs along here, and then it loops up into, you can see right over here, it loops up into this banjo bolt. And once the air travels into this here, it makes a hard turn to the left over here where you see the can. Now inside the can, first of all, there's an option to either have like a closed off bottom, or like I have over here, there is a tube running down, and I'll get to that in a second. But inside here, there is a mesh filter, I want to say. I haven't opened it up since I got it, so I kind of forget, but there is a filter in here because the air is the way the air travels, it will only come out really from here. So I don't know if it's hot or not. That's why I'm just saying it just comes out from there. I could be wrong, but yeah. So basically air comes in from here and it goes through the filter and up and into this tube, which then goes back into the plenum. So the path still stays the same. There is just something in the middle here. And what that does is when the air goes through the filter, it traps the oil, or as much as it possibly can. It traps it in the filter. And obviously because oil is more dense than air, once it gets trapped by the filter, it will then fall and collect in the cans. Although I have this tube over here which comes down. Now what does the tube do? So I have one on each side. This one is a little bit like pressed into the coolant hose over here, but it's not affecting it in any way. What these hoses do is this one is running straight down to the bottom to my service hatch, and that one just goes down and then across into the service hatch over here too. So what they do is, remember I mentioned before that I can have a bottom on the can here? This is replacing the closed bottom, so that instead of just collecting at the bottom of the can, it goes and collects in the bottom there. And at the end of those lines down there, there is a fitting that you can just undo, and all the oil that goes into the tube can now come out there. So maybe wondering, what is the point of that? So instead of having to disconnect these 2 hose clamps on each bolt and then disconnect these 3 screws, I need a special screwdriver on both sides every single time that I have to change out the cans and empty them. Instead, it just makes it easier, because when you get an oil change, the lines are routed over there right by the service hatch. So I do have the aluminum undershroud. I don't know if I went over that before, but aluminum, nice quality, also from Z1. Also, yeah, the catch canister from Z1, obviously. But when you open up the service hatch, there are zip ties just holding those lines over there so they don't like flail around when you're driving. Just undo the zip ties, let them come down a little bit or angle them down, and then you can open up, twist open the fittings, and then all the oil that's in the cans will come out. And that's just how you dispose of the oil, because obviously when it traps oil, it's going to fill up. So you gotta get rid of it somehow. I just chose a little bit more expensive way to get rid of it, because I don't want to deal with having to disassemble the whole thing every time, and that's with that. Next new thing you can see over here is Z1. There's 2 new Z1 silicone hoses over here for the power steering system. I also needed a new power steering. I also needed a new power steering motor over here, and I needed the new lines, plus I got the new reservoir and cap. Now, I recently got the seal because I didn't know that there was no seal that came on it, and I forgot to transfer it over. So there sometimes are a little bit of a little bit of whining from the power steering motor. But I'm just gonna ask the mechanic when I get the oil change soon. I'm just gonna ask him to bleed it for me and see if he can do that. So the reason why I had to do that is because these lines over here, they actually cracked and were leaked out all of my power steering fluid, because they were old garbage lines that Infiniti uses from factory, and yeah, they just got old, they cracked and dry rotted from old age, from the heat, from being right next to the engine, and it just wasn't a good time. So that's new. The power steering motor itself is new, and I also got a new serpentine belt, because might as well. When I got the new motor, when I got the new motor, it was like, you know, doing the belt squeal, because it's a new motor. So I thought I might as well put a new serpentine belt, and that got rid of the VQ belt squeal. So if you have a VQ and you're having like squealing sounds from the engine, replace your serpentine belt. It should get rid of it. Now that pretty much sums up what is like new / upgraded. But there is still the meat and potatoes of the transmission. It is starting to rain a little bit right now, so I'm gonna do that inside actually. But when we're coming along over here, there is a box over here, and I will get into that in the next video that I make, which is gonna be directly after this one. So this is just an update video, and I will finish updating inside on the transmission. So let me go do that before everything gets wet. Okay, so now let's get into transmission talk. So, yeah, basically my transmission shit itself apart, and the transmission mechanic told me that the torque converter was a problem. Now, the torque converter in these G37s and 370Zs, I believe they're kind of a little bit of a problem, hence why it completely broke. But I also blame my local dealership, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. So, let's say for the past, like, I don't know, since I got my high flow cats installed in my car, that's when I was able to tell it, like, more that there was something off because of sound. Like, sometimes it does weird things. And I remember sometimes when I was shifting from, let's say, third gear to fourth, it would, it would climb up, and then when I'm shifting, you know, usually it goes like, and then immediately, like, goes down. Mine used to go, like, up a little bit, and then shift down. So that's when I kind of had a feeling like, huh, that's not good. It feels like it's not engaging all the way. Because when everything is good and all, like, everything is engaging in a proper way, it should not be doing that little hiccup, like, going up like that. But it did. And that was, at the time, I think the least of my concerns, because I had other things I needed to replace. I don't remember exactly, because it started going wrong, like, I don't know, a year ago or so. So then, it's just nothing too crazy, not getting too, like, worse or anything. And then I noticed that sometimes when I'm just cruising around in regular drive mode, I have the 7-speed auto. So for those who are uncertain with the transmission types, I have the 7-speed auto. And so when I was just cruising around in regular drive mode at, like, lower RPMs, like between 1.5 to 2,000 RPMs, the way torque converters work is all weird nonsense, and I'm not even sure exactly, like, how to properly explain it, but there's, like, something going on with, like, clutch pressures and, like, engaging and disengaging and, like, locking and all this other fancy crap that don't even know how to explain. But basically, at lower RPMs, it's, like, not really too engaged or locked up, or what do you call it, or whatever it is. And then when you start going above, like, when you start going above 2,500 RPMs, then the clutch pressures, like, the I don't know, clutch pressures, like, activate, or they, like, start, like, engaging a lot more things, because there's a lot more power, like, needed and stuff. When you're at low RPMs, you don't really need, like, power like that just cruising around town or something. So I noticed myself when when around 1.5 2,000 RPMs, well, closer to like 1 3/4 RPMs, like 1750, let's say. Between 1750 and 2,000, there was, like, some weird stuff going on, and that weird stuff consisted of the RPMs kind of just, like, hovering, bouncing back and forth, making my car misfire. And I asked the mechanic, I was like, hey, what is this from? At the time, I think I had the GTR spark plugs, so he said, oh, your spark plugs. And it did fix it for a bit. It did make it a bit better. But obviously that's not ultimately what was wrong with it. Eventually, it started getting, like, really bad to the point, like, where I unfortunately don't have any videos of it, because this kind of stuff always happens when you don't have your phone or camera out ready to record. Therefore, you can't get evidence of it, and you're going to seem like a crazy person, and you can't explain it that well. But yeah, so then it's, like, started getting really bad to the point where, like, when these misfires were happening, the whole car was just, like, shaking, like, forward and back, because it's, like, trying to go, then not, then trying to go, then not. It's, like, just, like, back and forth, just weird shit. And it was doing that like if I kept it at like a steady like gas pressing, like if I kept it at a steady like rate, it kept doing that. If I let go, obviously it stopped doing that and will fall back down on RPMs and speed. If I press harder, then it would obviously try to kick down a gear and get past that. So it was only happening when I was keeping like a constant like little amount of gas, because obviously you go too much and it tries to downshift and go. And it got so bad to the point where it started off like within the first second it wasn't too crazy loud, but then like the more you kept on doing it to try to diagnose, the louder it got, to the point where it just like I heard like a giant boom out the back of my exhaust. And the thing is, I don't know if it was that from my exhaust or that was from a sound from the transmission, because after that I immediately like let go. I'm like, what the hell was that? And I just drove home. But it's just like weird stuff like that. And when I found out what it could possibly be, I forget how I found out, but I was told that it could be my transmission. Like the fluid is old and locking up all the inner mechanisms. Because the G37 370Z transmission, the TCM, is weird. Like normally in normal engines, normal cars, I'm sorry, usually TCM is like outside, like in the hood, just like the ECU. But in my car, the VQ37, for some reason they have it inside the transmission, like in the fluid, which makes total sense. Yes, let's have electronics that control this giant, like, crazy mechanical structure. Let's have those electronics sitting inside fluid for its lifetime. That makes sense. Not. But, essentially, I was told that my fluid was never changed. And I went to the dealership to get something. It was like a promo for free oil change and free oil change and also complimentary car. Well, not free, but I had a promo from the dealership to get like, I don't know, $40 oil change and complimentary car wash. So obviously I was going to do it. And while I was there, I asked for my dealer records, and they said, okay, sure. So they gave it to me, and I noticed that transmission fluid service wasn't on there. There was nothing related to transmission at all. And the reason why I was so baffled was because a few years back in like, I don't know, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, when my car was at like between 60 and 65,000 miles, probably around like COVID time, I want to say. Back around that time, I got a promo from the INFINITI for change all fluids. Now, I would argue that transmission fluid is a fluid, is it not? It's literally in the name. So I would say transmission fluid is a fluid, right? And therefore should be covered by this change all fluids thing that they said. Now, also looking back on it, I don't even know if they changed my brake fluid, but whatever, that's a whole different story. So I noticed that there was no transmission fluid. I was like, hey, what's going on? I had a promo for the transmission, well, change all fluids, and I don't see transmission fluid. And the guy told me, oh, yeah, so we don't touch anything transmission or create like differential related after your car gets to a certain amount of miles. And he said it was like, I think 60,000 or something like that. Tell me why on the user manuals and everything, it always says that transmission and differential fluid are lifetime. So if they're lifetime, why would you not change it after 60,000? Why would you change it before then? First of all, it doesn't make any sense to me. But second of all, they never told me this information when I left the dealership that first time 5 or so years ago. Also, like back then, like I didn't know too much. Like I told my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, sounds like a good thing to do. Just change your fluids. Might as well go do it." So I did it. But nobody let me know anything. They didn't say that they did not change the transmission fluid. Nobody, they just, what do you call it? They got my car back from the mechanic shop they have on site there. Oh, sorry, not mechanic. There's the service area, you know. And they got it back from the service area, handing me my keys, just gave me a pat on the back, and said, "You're all good to go." Nobody told me that they did not do something. And that is why I blame the dealership, because they did not let me know that, one, it should be recommended to do at least by a different mechanic since the dealership doesn't touch it, and two, that they didn't even do it in the first place. So that's what happened with the dealership. And now fast forward to, I want to say, yeah, June, pretty much right after I got the front end, the bumper video out. Right after that, shit hit the fan. So what I mean by that is, I was going to get a haircut that day, and I was literally just going from home to the barbershop and back home. So I'm driving, everything is fine. I'm pulling into the barber shop parking lot, and then as soon as I pull into the parking lot, like slowing down, my engine immediately starts trying to like die on me, and it's like lurching me like forward and stopping, and just like I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So eventually I somehow make it into the spot fully. I immediately put my car into park, and I turn it off and just leave it like that. So anyways, I go to the barbershop, get my haircut, get my highlight, whatever I did, and I come back out, turn my car on, put it into I put it into reverse to get out of the parking spot. Normally RPMs should drop to, I don't know, like normal idle is like 650 RPMs, I think. It should maybe drop to like 500 because there's a load on the engine and transmission. No, this was dropping to like, it was dropping to like 400, maybe even 350. And because of that, it kept on trying to like give itself more of a jump to keep itself up. So I was just like trying to reverse out of there, just like going back, and yeah, it was not fun. I'm like, what the hell is happening with my car right now? So I reverse out as quick as I can to not keep it in that mode as long as I can, and put it into drive. Immediately still does the same thing. So I don't give it any gas. I just let it do its thing because, well, I don't brake because I'm trying to leave now. I'm not trying to stop. So let go of gas, let go of brake. This fucking car is idling at like 1,500 RPMs, going like 15 miles an hour, or whatever RPM it was at. It was idling. You normally, like when you're like let go of the gas, your car just creeps forward a little bit. My car was creeping forward at 15 miles an hour in the parking lot. That's absolutely insane. So I'm just wondering, in the car, just along for the ride, just wondering what the hell is happening. Why am I, like, coasting so fast? And when so this place is, like, on the side of the highway, so when I had, like, obviously you have to stop to make sure you don't run into any cars run into you. And I was stopping, and it was doing the same thing, just like just going down, trying to stall and not stalling. It's just like, yeah, anyways, so when I get up higher into like normal road speed, it's perfectly fine. It's acting like nothing even happened. Every time I started getting slower, it just wanted to die out on me. So somehow I make it home, and pretty much as soon as I make it home, it, like, I think for the first time it died on me when right when I was parking. So I'm like, okay, that was weird. Luckily I was I wasn't the last car in, because then I would have blocked, like, both my parents' cars in the driveway. So luckily I was, like, up against the garage. So then I'm telling my parents, like, what happened, and I'm like, it's, like, really acting really weird, and I'm trying to get it out. And since then, every time I put it into reverse or drive just to see if it goes into any of them, it immediately just, like, it tried to hold the RPM, like, idle RPM, and it just immediately just dies on me. It just craps out. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it goes into neutral fine. It stays in park fine. Every time I put it into reverse and drive, it wants to die on me. Like, it just immediately stalls out. Doesn't even, like, hold the RPM for a bit. Doesn't even hold, like, the bouncing. It just immediately dies. So I'm like, okay, that's great. I can't even drive my car anymore. And at this time, I'm super, super worried, because I have work to go to, I have school to go to, and I don't want to have to sell my car that I put a lot of time and effort and money into, and I don't want to sell it for $3,000 because it's not drivable. So eventually we find a transmission mechanic. Yes, if you know anything about G37s, Infinitis, I tried bringing up that I wanted to VR30 swap. However, me and my family, we did not have the funds for that. So instead it came down to just getting my original transmission rebuilt. And it's only like $3,000 more. However, they said we do not have enough for this. We barely have enough for the rebuild. So the reason why the VR30 was so expensive is because I wanted something that had a warranty on it. This transmission mechanic, I'll tell you, like, what I got on it, but everything was covered by a full 1-year warranty. And I'm still under that warranty today, and I am still, like, well, I'm again having those, like, little like 2,000 RPM, like 1750 to 2,000 RPM, like, bounces again. So honestly, I'm hoping it fucking breaks again so I can cash in on that warranty. But the VR30 swap, why that was going to be so much more expensive, I know there's, like, junkyard VR30s, like, used OEM, like, TCM, which is, like, needed to be cleaned out anyways, so, like, there's no point. And then, like, all this, like, other, like, secondhand, like, Facebook Marketplace shit. Like, no, that's a very important mechanical component of the car. And I'm not gonna replace. I know my friend, he has a Q50 Red Sport. I don't know if he's gonna be watching this video, but I'm not getting a fucking transmission for $600, my dude. If you find a transmission for $600 and it doesn't break down with any problems, go buy yourself a lottery ticket. Like, not that day, because obviously it can last for a couple days and then break on you. But go buy yourself a lottery ticket a few years down the line if you buy a transmission for $600 and it ends up not completely breaking down on you. So the reason why the VR30 would have been so expensive is because I wanted a full warranty on it, and pretty much the only company that was offering the full warranty on it is Soho Motorsports. I've been in contact with them a couple times. For example, asking them about their supercharger system, asking them about the VR30 swap. And the supercharger system is unfortunately a little bit pricey. And what I could do is either go, like, just talking about superchargers, not that I have the money for this, because obviously I don't, but talking about superchargers, I could either get the Z1. Well, now they have a sport kit, which is even cheaper than the regular one. And I think for the, I want to say the 100mm pulley, the sport supercharger's smallest pulley, which allows for the most power, it makes more power than the same pulley on the race supercharger system. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a 100mm pulley on the sport. I could be wrong, but you know what? Let me actually just look it up quickly right now. Okay, so I'm sorry, I was a little bit wrong. So the sport system from Z1, they have two pulley options. First one is 110mm, and the second one isn't 100, it drops down to 90mm. However, it's only offered in 93 octane for both of them. The race system has 110, 100, 90, and 80mm pulleys. And dynographs for both of them. The dynograph for the sport one is 93 octane for both, and the dynograph for the race one is 93 octane for 110 and 100mm, and E85 for 90 and 80mm. So for the highest power, I don't know, it's not really like compatible. It's not really the same thing. So for the highest level, it's not really the same thing, but I can give you a comparison for the 110mm pulley. So on the 110 for the sport, on 93 octane, it makes 493 horsepower. For the race one, it makes 454 horsepower. And the 90mm pulley for the sport on 93 octane, it makes 500. Let me go back. It makes 536 horsepower on 93 octane. Meanwhile, the 90mm pulley on E85 makes 555 horsepower. So the sport on 93, on the 90mm pulley makes 536 horsepower, and the race on the same pulley but E85 makes only 19 more horsepower, which is kind of not that big of a jump if you ask me. And you can get this system. So I'm looking at the sport one. The reason I'll get into why I started talking about the Z1 kit. So you can get the sport supercharger, 525 minimum. It says power level 525, even though the dyno graph says 536. But you can get the 525 horsepower option for if you have if you already have a Z1 tune and you're if you already have a Z1 tune and you're upgrading to a level 3 supercharger tune, that's going to be $750 extra. But altogether, it comes out to $7,550 before tax and shipping, obviously. But you can make 536 on this graph. You can make that. Honestly, with extra upgrades, you can probably even make 550, because this doesn't include like the intake plenum as well. I don't know if it includes the exhaust modifications. It doesn't really say on the graph, but you can probably squeeze out even more with that, because I think Z1's kits, well, any supercharger kit, you just got to upgrade the fuel pump and injectors and the intake. Doesn't say anything about the plenums. Doesn't say anything about the exhaust. So you could probably even squeeze out even more with that. So 7,500, 550 is not unreasonable. For the Soho kit, they were quoting me for their supercharger kit because they were going to do the install and everything also in the dyno session as well. They were going to quote me, I think it was the better half of $20,000. Yeah. Because I think the way they do it is you're forced to get the fuel return system, the CJM, like flex fuel kit, CJM fuel rails, whatever it is, the booster pump stuff. You have to do the dyno session with them, and it's just a lot of excess stuff I don't need. Obviously, having them do it for me is nice, but that's just $27,000 to get like 600 horsepower out of a G37. In my opinion, like obviously there are people who love their VQ37s, but in my opinion, it's just not worth it. And same thing with the VR30 swap through them. It was they quoted me around like $10,000 for that, and that was going to include a new, like a transmission that they sourced themselves, so it's backed by the warranty. TCM, I forget, the TCM, they get a brand new one, so it's covered by that warranty. TCM / valve body unit, it's like the same, it's like one unit basically. They have the, I think, Z1 billet flex plate, either Z1 or a different company, I forget. But then the trans cooler, torque converter, possibly differential. It's just, and then also the transportation, because obviously my transmission was fucked, so I couldn't drive it down to North Carolina, considering that I can't even get it out of my driveway. So transportation, I think, was like $800 each way. I was looking up on different places, and it just became like too much, because it was like roughly like, I don't know, 8,500 I think they were quoting me, or 9,000 they were quoting me for the swap, but I also have to take in transportation costs into consideration as well. So instead, what I did was I went to a local transmission shop. I what do you call it? I had it towed over there using my towing service, and he repaired it and what do you call it? Rebuilt it for $6,400. In my opinion, that's a lot of money for G37, 7-speed auto, VQ37 trans, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And what that included was, he says, a brand new heavy duty torque converter from VTP Trans. Rebuilding all the clutch pressure plates and all the discs and rings and everything like that. He actually got a brand new TCM valve body unit from INFINITI of Englewood, and because he knew that we were going through like a lot, we don't have the money for it. My G actually didn't even include that in the price of the rebuild. He took the hit himself on that. It was like $2,000, I think it was, which is better than $2,800 from Soho, but still, like, still appreciate that. And he also tacked on He also tacked on an aftermarket trans cooler for $500. Because I asked him to, because then that means absolutely everything would be covered by the 1-year warranty as well. So everything is covered by the warranty. Also, while he was in there, he's the one who replaced my serpentine belt. But I think the fifth big thing is I spent my own money to get the Z1 VQ37 billet flex plate. So my parents covered the transmission, like everything on that aspect, which came out to $6,400. However, I gotta pay them back now because it's my car. So I didn't have that much saved up. So now I was busy focusing, locking in, and I gotta pay them back. So $6,400 plus around $600 for the flex plate. That comes out to about $7,000 for a heavy duty torque converter, which I feel like is failing on me again. The billet flex plate, that's an upgrade, so sure. And then the full rebuild of everything else, plus the trans cooler. So that's kind of what happened with the transmission. Then a couple weeks after that, my thermostat got seized up. It was stuck closed, so then my engine was not being cooled down, which was absolutely awesome. The only way it was being cooled was if I drove at like highway speeds and let the air cool down my engine, because obviously there's no coolant going through it. And because of the back pressure from the thermostat being stuck closed, the heater core hose actually popped off. So that led to a leak onto my, I think my high flow cats, I want to say, or like right by the crank position sensor on the transmission. And once I got the thermostat and heater core hose repaired, then my lower coolant hose popped off when I was driving home. So I don't know why Nissan Infiniti uses these kinds of like hoses, but yeah, it just like the power steering lines, it popped off from cracking, dry rotting, the heat. I lost all of my coolant on the road, which was fan-fucking-tastic. And I still remember that night, and I still remember how I felt, and it was miserable. I did not get home until 5 in the morning. But basically, when that happened, I needed the new hoses and also a new crank position sensor, because the fluid, the coolant that leaked from the heater core hose the last time it needed to be fixed, that fluid like seeped like into the seal somehow, because the dripping from it was right above it, of course. It was a lot to fix, and I've just been running into problem after problem after problem. But I think now, besides the transmission again, everything major and everything giving me problems should be done with. I'm hoping my transmission goes so I can cash in on the warranty. But I don't know. I'm just done with this. Hoping I can I'm hoping I can get if I can graduate and get a nice paying full-time job so I can afford myself to be able to go down to Soho Motorsports and ask them to VR30 swap my car for me, because I'm sick and tired of this shitty ass like tiny torque converter in the VQ37 trans and just things going wrong with it. And my friend's VR30 feels fantastic. Like, it's faster, there's less delay, and the torque converter is beefier, so it can hold a heck of a lot more power. So I'm hoping I'm able to do that, but if not, then I'll ride the VQ37 trans until it inevitably breaks again, because I feel like it's going to again. So after that very lengthy explanation about what happened with my transmission and what's been going on, basically like in June, that is what happened with my car, with me, and why I haven't really been active lately. There's just been a lot going wrong. So I'm going to try to see if I can get some more content out. I don't really know what to do though without buying new parts and installing them. I do have something coming up in the next video. I have it actually downstairs right now, so I just need to get to it. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know, like, I don't really get too much feedback, so I don't know like what you guys like, what you guys want to see. I don't know if, like, obviously I'm not gonna do like takeover like nonsense bullshit, but I can do like car mates and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm not crazy big channel. I'm not even a small channel. I'm like a subcompact channel over here. So probably honestly doesn't even really matter. It's just like, I don't know, like I want to put out stuff that the few of you guys who watch these want to see. So if anyone has any recommendations for what you guys want to see more of that doesn't involve like paying a lot of money for upgrades and parts and repairs and stuff, just let me know in the comments below and I'll check it out and let you guys know if I can do it. So this is kind of like a huge like update video that I was making on what happened and what went wrong and why I haven't been active lately. But I think I'm going to end the video here for today. I don't know, I was going to say if you guys liked, but you probably don't like my suffering of my transmission completely breaking itself apart and dealership fucking me over and all this other stuff. Just fuck it, just leave a like anyways. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.